to have someone from China just discovering you and just going, this is the greatest thing I want to, I want one, click, and you go, man, wow.
Yeah.
And next minute, you're printing something out, you're posting it to this guy. The joy that it gives you
Exactly.
from nowhere.
That's right. It stokes you. It
and
does.
Another one here and there. Bang, bang, bang. That's living, man.
Yeah. And that's exactly what happens I wake up in the morning and I'll have like 10 new followers and comments from bloody Bolivia saying, oh, mate, I loved your little toy soldier that you drew or, or whatever. And it stokes you. It's just, you imagine that person in their country checking out your artwork. It's awesome.
It's funny. We don't realize there's only, 26 million of us here. That's nothing.
Yeah.
So that's nothing. We must be thought of. Bolivia's probably got, I don't know, I've got no idea about Bolivia. Let's think of China, 1 billion people.
Yeah.
They must think of us as this novelty little country, this large novelty country with only 25 million people, say.
Right
and to find this artist there, good on it, let's just buy a few.
Yeah.
What about you, other million that's just in this town? You know what I mean? Like I think as Australians, it's hard for us to fathom the worldwide market.
Yeah.
Do you notice that? No one in Australia is really trying to sell to the world. I'm noticing now. I've got this mate with beard growth serum, this cool product, right? And we sell it in Australia. It's this great thing. It's got I'm going to say it, Captain Thunderbolt, right? It's this cool looking thing, skull and crossbones. It grows your beard. And I went, man,
yours is looking very good, by the way, mate.
Oh, it's a bit ginger, but anyway, China, Japan, like. There's a whole world out there of millions.
They can't really grow like a thick hipster sort of looking beard, can they? They're always sort of wispy.
Yeah, little sort of, on the chin and gear like that. But for example, we constantly as Australians have to remind ourselves that if we can find that thing to sell worldwide and there's every chance that someone catches on and goes, oh man, these arsies, look at that thing. So we'll do. Let's do a Japanese language. I'll get my wife to translate do a sale in Japan of your gear. When you get a portfolio together, let's do that.
That'd be classic.
It'd be great.
It'd be a good
just be translating something. You'll have an online store in Japan.
Wow.
Selling some Australian stuff.
That'd be, because...
127 million people.
Wow. But their whole culture, I mean, that'd be like what you were saying before. I'm just trying to think of the best way to explain what's going on in my head at the moment. But like a culture like Japan, which is so different to ours, how they would perceive art as opposed to us. When they look at something like that, just because they really, it's an alien culture to us, really, and vice versa. How we live and how we were brought up and our, fundamentals and that are completely different. I couldn't think of Japan is really unique in that sense, isn't it? Well, you live with an example of that. So
I'm always surprised in Japan. I've been there about
hung out
8
there a
times.
lot, haven't you?
Yeah, maybe 8 to 10 times. I spent 2 months there last year.
That's right.
I'm going there for 7 weeks this year again too.
Oh, nice.
But I'm always sort of critical of their art a little bit. You know how you always see...
What is their art? I've never even sort of checked out.
Well, it's all the stuff you've always seen. You know how you see a tiny little bit of landscape with a little sort of...
The traditional sort of...
Yeah, and it's kind of only sort of 3 or 4 kind of matte, but... sort of matte colours that it's never really glossy, bright. The petition walls that you see in paper.
Yep.
Your typical
rice paper.
Yeah, and you might see a couple of little trees or
yeah.
That's their art, man. You can go to 1 million homes, and that's really all you'll see. And I was like, wow, there's a whole bunch more colours in this world. I actually noticed the.
Oh, and they're big on manja too, aren't they? The cartoon.
Oh yeah, but
is that how you pronounce it?
On manga.
Oh, it is manga.
Yeah, well, hey, that's how I've always pronounced it there. Yeah, manga.
Oh,
manga, to be honest.
I'll be walking around doing the classic
manga.
Aussie, bit of bloody manja.
Yeah, sushi. Yeah, manga. But that never leaves the book. You'll rarely see any pictures apart from some advertising in streets, but.
Right, okay.
Man, I don't know why, but it's just a thousands of years culture that we don't understand. But, there's a whole world over there.
Wow.
They've got a beautiful, like, as far as their their expensive restaurant scene goes.
Yep.
You know what I mean? That's where you really see some, but you've got to get in there to actually see these things. But they've got some big dollar art in places, but it's pretty. You need to actually get in there first to see it. But
yeah.
You know what I did, man? I never reveal this to people because, no one wants to hear this sort of stuff. But the time, and it was more than 10 years ago, I'll be honest, the time that I spent my time as a youngster smoking weed, right, is when it just clicked to me, right? It was the right time in my life, whatever, and instantly I remember going, I want to paint. I kind of want to paint something. And if we're going to talk about it at this art episode, so to speak,
that's when your love for chicken shop started too, wasn't
it? I love those girls. Anyway, there's instantly inside me, if there was anything good about that stuff, is that for me personally, I actually, like a switch, bang, wanted to paint. I actually said in my mind, I went, I've always wanted to do this, Drew, do it. And I found myself, this was my trip, and it went on for a little while, right? That the little sketches you do on the phone, right? You'll understand this as an artist, right? And I'm being real arty here. When the sketches you do when you're on the phone, right? It's my opinion that no one else can do that. That's your art. Even if you can't claim to not be an artist, you know how everyone's mum, I can't draw, whatever. But they'll always sketch these little faces over and over and over again, these little triangle shapes, these little lines. Well, that's your art.
Yep.
That's what you do. So I started painting that. You know what I mean? That was actually my trip, is that, no, that is mine. So I sort of, it got me the courage to get out some oils, right? And I started to do, they were A5, only small.
Yeah, right.
I did a whole bunch of these A5s, man. And that led me to, my next art trip was to, get a CD and start the CD, and whatever I painted at the end of that disc.
That was it.
And so I forever remembered, I've still got these things about, but that was like, this is in the 90s, right? That's the Beck album, And so I had all these albums stuck, these great idea for art. And,
that is.
And it's endless. And they were often like skateboards or like cool, like like cartoon paintings of this and that. They were endlessly enjoyable for me personally.
Nice.
And I'll tell you where it finished. Again, I'm talking about me too much.
No.
But you'll appreciate this as an artist, and it might even plant a seed for you, that I ended up with all these paintings. Too many. And by the way, when I stopped on the weed, right?
Yep.
Way back then, the switch turned off. I just couldn't imagine myself doing it,
Yeah, right.
It was just another part of the brain. I completely went back to the other side, work too much or whatever, So I ended up with all these paintings, and I was never going to paint again. I just knew, and
that's it.
So what to do with them? And I was living in Surfers Paradise in this third level high-rise on the third level.
Yep.
Next door was a park, and everyone would barbecue at this park, and I'd have these canvas paintings I had, and I went over, and I was there for like 7 years. I nailed into the concrete wall in the park, and then once a month, I'd hang my painting. I'd draw a little note on the back saying, if you find this painting, it's yours to keep. I painted it, but I don't want it anymore. It's yours. Like that.
That's awesome.
And stuck it on the wall, and then I'd sit there, and I say the word joy. It's such a pussy word, but man, seriously, I remember this girl once. They had a barbecue all day, and she picked it up. She turned around, she wrote the note, and I'm inside the unit going, "Yeah, man, she's reading it." And it was a good one too. It was this like a pumpkin head, like it's orange and black, sort of quite bright, and this thing I really liked. But she actually took it and she walked down the street with it after all the barbecue was finished, and to think that that's there somewhere in the world, I wonder, man. But that's the secret to getting a kick out of your art, I think. It goes somewhere.
Great idea.
It's somewhere, and that she's got a good story about it.
Yeah,
I've got a funny story about making it.
Where'd that picture come from?
Yeah, I love that, man, and I'll never do it again. But I wish I'd do it again.
She's got an awesome story.
Yeah,
mate, what a cool idea.
Yeah, I got the idea from Book Drops. Have you heard of Book?
Yes.
Right. Yeah, big in London or something. You read a book, is it?
Yeah. Well, I saw also same concept in New York with USB hubs, and they're like half sort of cement them into mortar in walls, and like all through New York they're putting and the idea I think is you take the USB hub, you have a look what's on it. I mean, it's a pretty stupid idea as far as viruses and things like that go. I'm sure some, people would have done
tricky.
some shitty things with it, but
Doesn't have the same feel though. USB.
You just dump on there whatever you want to share with someone else. So you go and grab this thing and you plug it into your device, your computer.
Oh, so it's there for sharing. People can repeat things.
Yep, and then whoever looks at it, they can I don't know, add to it, or they can put their thing on, and then you just go and stash it somewhere around New York. But
that's cool.
Yeah, good way to get a virus.
Get a kick.
But
yeah, probably. Yeah. Have you ever been to New York?
Yes. In '98. So I went up the World Trade Center. I got photos from the top, which freak me out to look at these days. Actually,
no doubt.
But
when did it go down?
2001.
Yeah, right. So.
Yeah, but at the time, because I had family over there in New Jersey, just over the river, and my cousin we were with at the time. Actually, my cousin Robert actually worked in the centre, but one of the lower floors. He was away on business when it happened. I think all of his company were fine. They were down on 28th floor, something like that. They were okay. But in '98, when I went there, she said, "Oh, I hate," because it was bombed in the car park. I think in early '90s or mid '90s, and about 7 or 8 people were killed. And we're going up in the lift, and I still remember her saying, "Oh, geez, I hate coming here. Like it freaks me out, because after the bombings, I don't feel safe here." But you had to walk through a full metal detector and everything just to go up to the observation tower up the top.
Wow.
Yeah, so that was.
Have you seen the Limp Bizkit video? They've got a video where they're on top of that. They did a whole video on top of it.
Really?
Yeah. It was around about that time.
I probably did see it and not add to it.
Yeah, maybe. But
yeah,
creepy,
right.
Man.
Yeah.
So it's super high. How high is that thing? Do you remember?
Oh, it was 110, 111, something like that. Stories.
What's Q1?
Shit, man.
Come on, question time. Is 140? No. Q1? I got the feeling it's only 70. What's tall? Yeah, I think Q1 is only must be taller.
Was it not the tallest building in the southern hemisphere?
Yeah.
I know they're making one bigger now, aren't they?
Yeah, well, there was a funny meme. What do you call them? Meme?
It's actually
no, is it?
I don't know.
There was a funny meme on how Seoul at Surfers Paradise is bigger. When they built Q1, it's the biggest in the southern hemisphere. Everyone went crazy. Yeah. Seoul is actually technically taller, but no one gives a shit.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like the highest level is higher than the level. So the peak, like that point, goes higher, but the penthouse is higher than the other penthouse.
But no one gives
a shit. Whatever. It's been done, mate. And probably building one in Dubai.
No, I think they're doing one here.
Yeah?
Yeah, and they're
nuts.
Some huge thing going up in Broadbeach. I think a Chinese builder.
Yeah.
It's like 5 high rises all in one. That's going to be huge.
Wow.
Billions of dollars for the Olympics. Yeah.
I can't stop thinking that we all should learn some Chinese.
It's probably the one to learn. Yeah.
Definitely, like the flights that are coming in here right now. Like, honestly, it'd be a great little tool.
Yeah.
They're a wacky country there. Because my wife's Japanese, obviously it's like Australia and New Zealand to them, but a whole lot more heaviness in between. But only my wife went to the park yesterday with her girlfriend at Burleigh.
Yeah.
And we it's not racism at all, but when I worked at SeaWorld, so I know when the Chinese the bus arrives at SeaWorld, when I did, they culturally just different. You know how you don't line up for things? Like Chinese people they actually use their shoulders.
Yeah, they hoard in,
Yeah, and that's just how they do it, And so it's really wild. And I'm like, man, they can't even notice that we're lining up. And they just become straight to the front of the line and not notice that 30 people are just what are you doing? Aussies from Marrickville, what are you doing? So
look at this prick.
Yeah, and then we're at the SeaWorld buffet the other week. I'm getting to another long story, man, but SeaWorld buffet the other week, and then here's this dude eating everything out of the buffet with a spoon.
No.
And just trying everything, and everyone from a distance is going, "Oh, he's eating, he's putting things back in."
Oh my God.
But to him, that's normal, right?
That's not normal anywhere,
is
it?
Well, it is to them, you know what I mean? But the one that happened yesterday, I just kind of like them because they're non-threatening people. I was saying to my wife, if they were big Maori, like huge,
Yeah,
physically
imposing.
intimidating people pushing into the lines,